My name is Aaron Blackerby, and this is my testimony for Higher Power Recovery. It's a story about the love of Jesus Christ. It's not to glorify anything from my past or anything that I've done, but to give all glory to God, because without Him, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have the story, the chance, the opportunity to do the things that I do today. I was a horrible methamphetamine addict. I used meth from the time I was 18 until exactly 1 year ago tomorrow. I went to jail in 2004, to federal prison, did 6 years there, all over the United States, some of it in the gang unit in Oakdale, Louisiana. And I get out of prison, and I start working at a dealership, and I think I've beat this addiction that I have. And I start to lie to myself, and I start to hustle the people around me, including myself. And I worked for a local car dealership, start out sweeping the floors and just doing whatever they would have me. And as time went by, I moved up the ladder. Within 6 months, I became a service manager, and success started to come my way. And at that point, I really started to say, look at me and look what I've done. Look what I figured out. Look at the money I make. Look at the accolades that I have. I had a house. I was engaged. To the outside appearance, everybody really thought I had it together. What they didn't know, that every day I was getting high. I was a liar. I was a manipulator. I lied to myself included, and I justified a lot of the things I did for whatever reason, like we do in our addiction. And anyways, for 4.5 years I did this, and I became the fixed ops director at this dealership, and was making 6 digits a year, and just thought I had it together, and I became very, very boastful. And I said, look at me. And at that point is whenever I was really humbled, and had a motorcycle accident, survived the accident, decided to quit my job. Didn't want to be there anymore, and they decided to get rid of me at the same time. And January of 2015, after being in federal prison for 70 months and then being free for almost 5 years, I get arrested. I'm leaving a house I shouldn't have been at, and I get arrested with a quarter ounce of methamphetamines in my pocket. I'm immediately bonded out by some friends of mine who live that same lifestyle, and thought it was a good idea that I would go down to El Paso, Texas. In El Paso, I was doing things I shouldn't do. I was deep in my addiction, and it was shooting up every day. Had no intentions of stop using drugs. Had lost my family, lost my home, lost all self-respect, and just had nothing to live for but to get high every single day, and whatever the cost that was. So I go down to El Paso, and I'm on my way back, and I fall asleep at the wheel of a vehicle. I run into a semi-truck right inside of El Paso. It almost kills me. It almost takes my life. And I was arrested in January 2015. I had the wreck with the semi March the 9th of 2015. So I'm in the hospital for a few weeks. I get out of the hospital and I come home, and I've decided, that was a near-death experience. I was down there in my addiction, doing things I shouldn't have been doing, and lucky I didn't go to prison then. And was home for about 2 months and thought I had it all together. Of course, I started lying to myself again and lying to everybody around me. And I get arrested again. I go to jail because the people that I've gone to see in El Paso, you watch these movies and everybody's a gangster, and nobody tells on anybody, and it's a lie. It's all a lie. As addicts, we're the master of manipulator. We're the biggest liars. We're the biggest thieves. We do everything we're not supposed to, so these people report their car stolen. I'm down there visiting these people, and I'm bringing some stuff back, and I'm in their car, and I fall asleep, hit a semi-truck, so they call law enforcement and tell law enforcement that I took their car and never brought it back. And at this point in my life, I really realized, how stupid I was to believe my own crap and somebody else's. So I go to jail in Las Cruces. I've got one arm in a sling. I'm in jail for 2 months, and I decided to call my family and tell them, hey, I think I'm done. Of course, I've said this before: prison, jail, hospital visits, So my family, they bonded me out, and I come home and I beat the charge. It was that they found the car in El Paso wrecked and realized I didn't steal it. And, I think, man, I want to work and I want to do right. But that old addiction had gotten a hold of me, and I started feeling sorry for myself. So in feeling sorry for myself, I start to use again, and I'm shooting up, and I get pulled over outside of the Hale County Sheriff's Office. I fall asleep in my truck driving. I have a problem with falling asleep and driving in my addiction, and they bring in the DPS. There's an 8-ball of methamphetamines in my pocket, and I swallow it. I can't get the bag down, so of course I have to eat the bag. And in the process of eating this bag, I lose all my motor skills. And the girl that I was seeing and my best friend put me in a motel room and left me there for 3 days. Luckily, I lived. Just by the grace of God and God only. That's the only explanation for this whole story of how I'm living, walking, breathing, or can even make a sentence or even add 2 + 2 anymore. So this is right after, it's about April. Then July the 3rd of 2015, I am on my way back from Lubbock on a Harley outside of Hill Center, and I fall asleep on the interstate. And I wake up, and beside me, my bike is beside me, and I'm sliding down I-27, and I remember thinking, man, this ain't so bad. And then I had to get up. And I had broken all the ribs on the left side of my body. There was some damage on the inside of me. I got up and walked away by the grace of God. God had his hand on me in each and every one of those instances, no matter what I thought. It wasn't because of me. It was because the only reason that explains it is God. And I think, man, I really want to get my life together. At this point, I lose everything, absolutely everything. I go from having a great job and a family to nothing. Just being a hateful, broken, deceived man by myself, deceiving myself. And I walk around for a month or two. My family checks me. I leave the hospital in Plainview, go to the hospital in Lubbock or Amarillo, and it's just, I'm in a lot of pain, and I'm hurting, and I'm losing things, and I'm just not making any sense anymore, and I can't think of a time where I would ever want to be sober. I was high every day, all day long, and I wasn't going to change, and it was just breaking my family's heart. I have an awesome family. I have awesome parents and a brother, and it was just a real bad time, and I knew better. I had done all that time in prison, 6 years, and come out and go right back to it, and had walked on top of the world, I thought, with a good job, good money, and that's not what happiness is about. And that's where Jesus Christ really entered me, because at this time I was on bond from January. This is all 2015. And, and my bondsman drops my bond and says, Aaron, we can't have you on bond. So I go to jail August the 3rd, 2015, which is a year ago tomorrow. And I see this little fella in there. And during time, I always go to SEG. I don't ever get to play with other kids. I don't ever do right. And they have me in Garza County for a reason. This guy is facing 45 years for a DWI, and he's picking up the trash can and mopping under the trash can. And I tell him, man, why are you doing that for them laws? Screw them, make them do that. We're convicts, we're gangsters, And he looked at me and he said, Aaron, I do everything to the glory of Jesus Christ. He said, I have a joy and a peace and a happiness. And, if you want that, you need to come see me. And it's at that time that God touched me in a way I've never been touched before. And there in that jail cell, instead of being locked up or a life of violence anymore, God just touched my heart and showed me that real men walk in love, and real men serve, real men lead, real men love. And I'm in jail for 6 months, and it comes time for me to get my time, and they come at me and they offer me 15 years, being I'm a prior convicted felon. I've got a manslaughter case conviction. I've got a drug case conviction for the feds. And, I never prayed once, hey, God, deliver me from this situation, because I deserved to be in prison. I had destroyed my life and destroyed a lot of lives around me. And I just remember January the 3rd or 4th, 2016, my court-appointed attorney, so it wasn't because we had money. It wasn't because we paid anybody, because I had nothing. At this point in my life, I lost it all. And just praying to God, I said, hey, let me do this time, whatever it is that you see fit, pray that your will is done for my life, and truly meant it. And my lawyer called and said, hey, 15 years, no enhancements. And of course, I think, 15, I'm going to have to do half of that in SEG because my history. And I call my mama, 36-year-old, I'm tough, and I call my mama. Every time I call my mama. And I just want to make sure she's okay. And I said, whatever God has in store, God has in store for us. lawyer's going to get right back with me. Calls me back. He never does, of course. They never do. And he's a court appointed. So anyways, I finally hear back. He says the DA says the stop was good. They're going to put it before the judge. And so about 2 weeks go by, and I'm just kind of distraught, waiting, just don't know what's going to happen. And they come in one morning, and they cut me loose. No explanation. No, I don't. For whatever reason, God see fit that I should be out here. And left there, and I went to a program in Oklahoma City. Didn't quite work out. I remember I got sick, and I go back to the hospital again, and they're telling me, they come in one day and say, you're having a heart attack. No, it's not a heart attack. It's your gallbladder. And they tell me we found cancer on your left kidney. It really breaks me, scares me, and, kind of brings me to terms with God. And, of course, I'm really seeking God, and I want his will for my life. And I was the worst liar, the worst manipulator, the worst drug addict, the worst person, the worst man I could be. And God just touched me. So I go to this program, and I think, I'm going to go through this program, and I'm going to be a preacher, and I'm going to do all these great and mighty things. Well, I don't make it through the program. Your plans are not always God's plans. Easter weekend of this year, 2016, I come home. And after, to a motorcycle wreck and hitting a semi-truck and ODing and 6 months in jail, and I come home. And I just think I ran from Plainview because I was born and raised here and didn't want to come back, and I was ashamed of who I was. And God brought me back for a reason. He brought me back, and within 48 hours of being home, I had a truck given to me. I had an awesome job given to me by a company that follows Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ first, and work around a bunch of men that are men of righteous men that walk with integrity, and have beat that addiction and beat that. And I'm now active, involved in some higher power recovery, and I just reaching out to those going through the same thing I was. And it doesn't matter how bad you are or how strung out or how bad life looks. It's I lost everything more than once. And when I truly sought God first, everything else has been added unto me. I'm just happiness and joy. And the only way that happens is through the love of Jesus Christ. Nobody else can do it for you. No rehab can do it for you. No other person can do it for you. But my God, my Savior, he can do it for you. He took the worst in me. He made Saul into Paul. He takes the meek and makes them strong, and he takes the quiet and makes them leaders. That's the God that we serve. And that's my testimony.